Hello everyone, I wanted to do a quick summary of last week's forum discussion. So last week we started part one of the arsenic life debate. And the idea behind Felisa Wolf-Simon's paper is that she had found life on Earth that was fundamentally different from anything we had seen before. And this was inspired, her research was really inspired by a research quest proposed by astrobiologist Paul Davies. And what he wants scientists to look for is life that is so exotic and fundamentally different from life on Earth that it has to come from a different planet. It has to come from a different tree of life. It has to come from
Space, the final frontier.
Okay, so the idea is that if you find some species that is so different, it's come from some other planet, somewhere else in outer space. It's not a species of Earth. So Felisa Wolf-Simon finds this bacteria in a very exotic location where life is tough, right? It's this real arsenic-rich environment. And what she thinks is that this bacteria, GFAJ1, has substituted arsenic for phosphorus. Now, there are 6 chemical building blocks to life. We've got oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. If a species is not using one of those and is using something else instead, it would be fundamentally different from anything on the tree of life known on planet Earth. Now, why is phosphorus important? It's something that we haven't covered yet in our book, but we're going to cover soon. Phosphorus is really necessary for metabolism because phosphate molecules are used in ATP. And so they store huge amounts of energy and allow us to do things like, type and talk and run and move and everything needed to survive pretty much. So that's why it would be pretty amazing if the bacteria was using arsenic instead of phosphorus. In our discussion, there was some debate about how credible this finding was. Were the results convincing enough? And many of you pointed out that her data showed that some of it was still using phosphorus. The bacteria were still using phosphorus. Furthermore, the DNA wasn't clean of phosphorus. So what we're discussing in week 2 now is some of the criticisms of her paper. And I'm not going to get into that because we'll be talking about it all week, but I just wanted to review that, the research was to find life that used something other than the 6 traditional chemical building blocks. And the reason why this was published in Science, and Science is a huge, big-name journal, is because at the time of her research, which had been peer-reviewed by other scientists, this would have been a huge breakthrough if it was true. Now we're finding out this week that there are a lot of problems with her paper. So those scientists that reviewed it obviously missed a few things. But NASA sees one of their researchers who's been published in one of the premier journals in the world for research, and they're making a big deal out of it. And so some of the fallout from all of this is what we're going to learn about during week 3.